Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to look past all the confetti and the trophy to uncover the really complex and, honestly, contradictory aftermath of a Super Bowl victory. And we're going to use the champion Seattle Seahawks as our guide. So let's start right in the locker room, moments after the win. You hear a quote like this, and you feel it, right? You just want that incredible moment to last forever. But the reality is, the clock is already ticking. And the feeling in that room, it isn't just pure joy. It's way, way more complicated than that. So here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with that emotional peak, and then we're going to move into the tough debates that it created. Debates about money, about loyalty, and really, about the future of a championship team. Okay, so for 31 teams in the NFL, locker cleanout day is just a total downer. It's the end. But for the champions, it's this really unique, kind of strange mix of pure euphoria and, believe it or not, real sorrow. I mean, just think about this roller coaster of emotions. On one hand, you've got the total joy of the win, what some guys called a lovely feeling. But at the exact same time, there's this sadness, this realization that this group, this team, is breaking up. Some guys were literally in tears. They're stoked for the parade, of course, but they already know the hard truth. Next season, everybody starts from scratch. And this quote, man, this just captures that feeling of ground zero perfectly. It's this sharp awareness that your historic achievement is already fading into a memory. It's a personal milestone for sure, but it's not going to help you win a single game next season. And for one group of players, this feeling was especially real. Yeah, that bittersweet feeling was probably strongest when players started thinking about the future, especially for a key defensive group that was facing a ton of uncertainty. So you've got core players in the secondary, guys like Woolen, Job, and Bryant, all about to become free agents. Think about that. The very identity of their dominant championship defense was suddenly in question. The absolute backbone of their success could be gone before the new season even kicks off. But then you hear this from safety Julian Love. He's saying that no matter what the contracts say, their victory created this unbreakable permanent bond. And right here, this is where the conflict gets really sharp, you know? It's the business of football crashing right into the chemistry that makes a champion. But the costs of winning weren't just emotional. For some of these guys, they turned out to be shockingly financial. I mean, you won't believe this. So it all comes down to something called the jock tax. And let me tell you, California's version is particularly aggressive. It doesn't just tax the money you make while you're in this state. No. It uses the number of days you work there to tax a chunk of your entire yearly salary. For quarterback Sam Darnold, the numbers were just staggering. Okay, so he gets a bonus of $178,000 for winning the biggest game of his life. Awesome, right? Well, his tax bill for those 7 duty days he spent in California for the Super Bowl was almost $250,000. So yeah, let that sink in. He actually lost over $70,000 for the privilege of winning the Super Bowl. He literally paid to play in and win the championship game. It's just wild. As you can imagine, this financial craziness sparked a huge debate across the league. But the fallout from the victory wasn't just about taxes. It was also causing some friction right back home in Seattle. I mean, you had commentators like Boomer Esiason being super blunt about it. He basically said the NFL Players Association should boycott any future Super Bowls in California. His argument? It's completely absurd for players to lose money playing in the league's biggest event. And this sets up a really clear conflict, a debate with no easy answer. On one side, you've got to protect the players' finances, right? But on the other, the Super Bowl is just this massive machine with so many contracts and obligations. Is it really possible to disrupt it over this? Which side do you fall on? And if that wasn't enough, the victory was even causing some friction at home. You'd think the whole city would be on the same page, right? Nope. The school district actually refused to give kids excused absences for the parade. That put a lot of families in a really tough spot, and it was a huge contrast to how cities like Philly and Kansas City celebrate their champions. So when you tie all these different threads together, you've got the emotional goodbyes, the insane tax bills, the arguments back home. It all leads to this one central unresolved question for the Seahawks, and really for the entire league. The team achieved the ultimate goal. They reached the absolute summit. But the cold, hard rules of the business say, congratulations, now it's time to break up the team. The very group with that forever stamped bond is already being dismantled. That's the heart of the whole conflict. And this brings us to the final, really provocative question. And it's a debate that has no easy answer. Is it a smart business move to break up a championship team, to just follow the cold logic of the salary cap? Or is that just, well, cultural suicide? Are you sacrificing the very chemistry, the identity that got you to the top? For the players, it leaves them wondering, what is the true price of hoisting that trophy?